So you currently may be in a precarious position where you don't know what you're really doing with your life. You may be in a timeline where currently you're wasting time. You're not really adding up that time that you could utilize for better things overall. You're basically not giving life into your days. And that's okay. Sometimes we as people really get into situations where we don't know what to do. But I'm gonna show you with this one very simple thing, and that is planning your week. Now I'm gonna show you that this can be one of the best starting methods for you to use when you seriously don't know what to do. You know, maybe you seek some kind of improvement, you seek to be better, but you just don't know how, so you search the internet for people to help you. And that's when I come into the picture, and I'm actually going to show you how to plan your week for you to progress and be better overall. So the first thing that we're going to start off with is having weekly goals. So what do I mean by this? What I want you to do is for every week, I want you to set one weekly goal that you want to complete. A weekly goal that is non-negotiable to you and that you need to complete. Try something very simple. You having a lower screen time than the last week, let's say. So maybe now on average you have 9 hours of screen time during the week. So try to decrease it to 7 hours and have that progress where you complete that weekly goal. You will feel much more complete overall. So for example, with me currently, now it's the summer break, so I try to create at least 2 videos per week. Not upload them or edit them, just record them to improve my speech overall. So that's what I try to do. So currently it's Monday and I'm recording this video now, so that means I'm halfway through completing my weekly goal that I have. And every week it could be something different. So this is a pretty good way of you improving some aspect of your life when you don't have a starting checklist, for example, which I'm still going to get to. So those are the weekly goals. Now the second thing. So another thing that is very important is you having a week calendar. Not a normal calendar. Of course, having a normal calendar is very important. It's a very good way for you to be up to date with things going on, that like you have schedules, appointments, different things you have to attend to. So you having a calendar overall is very good. I know that a lot of people, they don't have a calendar and they suffer from it. They're not organized and they make a lot of mistakes. I used to be this too. I didn't have a calendar. I always tried to hold everything in my head to remember, but sometimes it would just spill and I would forget about a task that I needed to do and it would be too late. So you at the start having a calendar is a very powerful thing. However, I mean a week calendar. So what do I mean by this? I mean you writing down on a sheet of paper the days in a week. So what I want you to do is for every single day, draw a timeline and write down activities and things that you're doing in that day. The non-negotiables like is school, work, those hobbies or activities that bring you closer to your career that you just can't skip. So for me, like kickboxing, going to the gym, these things that I just cannot skip. Write those down. So I'll show you an example of mine. Let's say that from 7 a.m. to around to 4:30 p.m. I would be on average in school. Here, after that, I would have some free time, and later I would start kickboxing class at 7:30, and it would end at around, I'd say it would end around 9 p.m. So as you can see here, there's school, and this is basically kickboxing. So I tried always to highlight the free time that I had in that day. So as you can see, we have some kind of free time here, which on average it would be around, let's say, 2 to 3 hours of free time. So I would utilize this free time that I had to progress on the things that I wanted to progress at, the things that I wanted to do. So as you can see, you could probably tell that now we have 2 to 3 hours of free time. However, but maybe I didn't count in between hours at school those 10 minutes that I have of break time. So on average, it would be, if we had 8 hours of school, and when we take every break in between those hours, we would have around, let's say, an hour 30 of free time. And take also the time which is from you commuting to school and you returning from school. I didn't write 8 a.m. because I would start my journey to school at 7 a.m. and I would start going home, or I would get home when it was around 4:30 p.m. So also take into account the commuting to school and commuting home, which would always be like an hour and 20 minutes, something like that. So when we take all of this into consideration and we scale it up, we have around 6 to maybe 7 hours of free time that we can utilize to get better at some kind of activity or some kind of hobby or whatever, something that we use to progress in life. It can be that weekly goal. However, it can also be the checklist, the daily checklist that you can also utilize to exponentially get better every single day. So the third thing that you can start doing is having a checklist. This is one of the most important things that I have in that day. And you as a person, if you're starting out, you may not be able to have a fully span out checklist. Up until now, your life was such in chaos that you weren't able to have a structured day, if you know what I mean. So you can start out small. You can start with one task of something every single day. And once you had a streak of 7 days or 2 weeks, you can start adding up more tasks. It can be 1 or 2, doesn't really matter, just as long as you complete those tasks every single day. And this is the thing, they don't have to be overly complicated. They can be simple things. With me, in my checklist, I have drawing. I wanted to improve drawing because it's a fun thing and it's a hobby that I want to progress at. Then you can have also journaling, writing down my thoughts and just thinking about them, because I feel like you writing down your thoughts will boost my mental health overall. And once you start having a checklist and doing all of those tasks, you will sense this, you'll feel the progress. You'll have that purpose. You'll have this feeling of completement, this progress that you've always strived for. And once you've completed the checklist, you can start moving to the weekly goal. You don't have to do that weekly goal in one day. You can do it throughout the whole week. And that's the important thing about that. And maybe you've completed your weekly goal early on, and you can just start focusing on the checklist, on the daily checklist that you have as a person. And it's simple as that. And once you've completed all of that, and you have some maybe free time that you can utilize to do something else, you can have free time, you can just rest. But now the last thing that I think is very important is, self-reflection. And I think self-reflection is a very powerful thing, because at the end of the day or at the end of the week, you can choose from both, you will be able to self-reflect on the mistakes that you did and the positives that you were surprised about, let's say. So you writing down the positives that you did in that week and the negatives that you will try to fix in the next week it's a very good thing. With me, let's say, I try to do the self-reflection every single day by journaling. But for you, when you haven't, let's say, started journaling yet, you can just take a sheet of paper and write down all of those things that you feel like could be improved upon. And it's simple as that. You know, like the positive thing can be that you, for example, completed your weekly goal. However, the negative can be that maybe, I don't know, on Tuesday, you didn't complete your checklist. You didn't do a single task. And you will self-reflect on that, and you will tell yourself, okay, next week this is not going to happen. I'm going to complete Tuesday, and I'm going to get closer to progression overall. So it's simple as that. These, I believe, are the 4 most powerful tools that you can use to overall be more disciplined, you having that inner discipline, and for you to have that progression in life. And you completing all of these tasks will get you to challenge bigger issues that may come later on in life. So it's simple as that. Let's just have a quick recap. You having weekly goals, very important thing. You striving to that one thing that you want to do every single week, and it's a non-negotiable. You completing that is very important. Next, we have the weekly calendar. The calendar that is going to be for you to see where you have that free time and how you can utilize it to either focus on the weekly goal that you want to complete, or you completing the checklist that you want to complete in that day. Now the checklist, when you will be completing your checklist, your daily checklist that you will have, then you will feel that progress and you will feel more complete because you overall feel much more productive from you checking off every single task. And then the last thing, a very important one, is the self-reflection. You writing down the positives and the negatives through the week or the day, and you improving or fixing those negatives that you would like to improve upon. And you still being appreciative of those positives. Maybe you did a positive thing that you didn't even expect, and it was such a surprise to you that it boosted your self-confidence in achieving more overall. So if you will start doing this, this will help you so much in improving yourself as a person overall every single day. And it's simple as that. So that's it from me. I hope this has helped you. This was one of the things that helped me a lot when I was starting out. You trying to copy what I did here, I think will benefit you very much, and I'll see you next time. Peace, bro.